What Kosmos Energy is doing now offshore in Western Sahara is just another case of the illegal activities in Western Sahara. You would recall that in 2001, another international companies, especially Total Fina, the French and American Kermagui, enjoyed a license by the Moroccan occupying power in Western Sahara and started some efforts, some works on in exploration and exploitation of the resource of the oil resources of offshore Western Sahara, which led to an international campaign all over the world, where the UN Security Council found itself obliged to seize and decide and say something about the case. The UN Security Council in 2002 asked its legal counsel, by then the Swedish Hans Corell, to provide them with a legal opinion on the legality or illegality of the explorations going on by Total Fina and Kermagui, and the opinion was very clear, saying that the wealth, the national wealth or natural resources of a territory, of a non-self-governing territory, could not be or should not be exploited until the final status of the territory is decided. Means until the end of the decolonization process in Western Sahara. So those activities were illegal, and this legal opinion marked an after in all those economic activities in the occupied part of Western Sahara, because you would also remember that Kermagui, Total Fina withdrew from the territory after this advisory opinion. The same thing with the Norwegian oil company NOPEC and others. Now, Kosmos is doing exactly the same thing that Total Fina and Kermagui were doing in 2001. There is no change at all in the legal nature of the territory, and there is no change at all also in the legal approach of the international community of the issue. So, in conclusion, what Kosmos Energy is doing is in a clear breach of the international law, but also in contradiction with the UN position in the matter. On the impact that an eventual discovery of the oil in Western Sahara, what is the impact on the future or the process going on in Western Sahara? And I think that it would be really very negative, because it's an activity which is undertaken in an illegal context. That's one. And also, you know that the central element of motivation of any colonial power is to have a hand on the natural resources of the territory. And people ask us why Morocco wants to keep Western Sahara all the time. But when you go in the details of the natural resources of Western Sahara, especially the phosphates, the fisheries, and the potential of other natural resources going on, that's the main and the central motivation of Morocco, as exactly as any other colonial power, to keep a hand on Western Sahara. If we add now the oil, a discovery of oil in the territory, we think a priori that is going to complicate the political process of the settlement going on, because Morocco will feel an additional element of motivation to keep on its occupation of Western Sahara and its defiance to the international community in implementing the UN resolutions and allowing the Sahrawi people to vote and to decide what do they want of their territory. What Kosmos is doing now is almost an exploitation of the natural resources of Western Sahara. When we go to drilling, there is a physical activity in extracting, the wealth and the oil from Western Sahara, and it is in a very clear violation of the international law. While what the Sahrawi government is promoting now, some international partners and some international companies, is just prospecting and exploring the possibilities of the existence of some natural resources in the liberated area, and we are very far now from the phase of physical exploitation of those resources in the liberated areas. And I think that the Sahara government is very clear in that point. What matters the most in this case are not the intentions of Kosmos Energy, are not the possible interest that the local population might get at the end of the day by the activities or the works that Kosmos Energy is doing. What matters the most is the legality of the context. That what Kosmos is doing in Western Sahara is illegal. And if the CEO of Kosmos is trying to present a sort of Robin Hood approach, that I steal from the rich to feed the poor, is not going to fit in this case, because the UN is very clear in the matter. The legal status of the territory is very clear in the matter, that there is a decolonization process. Any exploitation of the natural resources of this territory should be halted, stopped, until the indigenous people are given the right to decide. Western Sahara case is not the first. So everybody would recall the case of Namibia, where the UN General Assembly and the UN Security Council made it very clear that the natural resources of Namibia should be preserved, should be not exploited until the Namibians decide their destiny. So we cannot take Kosmos for its intentions. What we take Kosmos for is the fact that what they are doing is illegal. Their intentions, their hypothetic, good intentions might be there. We appreciate them for them. But we cannot really accept that they will be doing such activities while they know that the starting point of their activities is illegal.